What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the show. We are your hosts, Chase and Myles, and we are at the Lucky Duck. Duck. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen, and anyone in between.
Yes, there are multiple genders now.
Yes, we acknowledge all of them.
There were always multiple.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Myles? Starting right now.
There's only one.
What's going on? Everybody, thanks for listening.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, watching on YouTube. Myles, cheers. Here we go. To number 62, I think it is. Wow, how did we get so lucky to make 62 great, fun episodes, having great conversation over cocktails, baby.
Yep. And today we're drinking one of my favorites. I have it at least twice a week.
Yep.
What's it called?
I think it's pronounced the Michelada. Or for some of you, the Michelada. I don't know why you would call it that way.
In case you're used to saying Michelin star because you're really fancy and you're always going to Michelin star, and then you see it at a Michelin star restaurant and you're like, oh, this is a Michelada.
This is a Michelada.
That's the fancy way of saying it.
Yeah, it is. I'll take one Michelada, please. What is a Michelada, you ask? Thank you for asking.
Yeah. Let's hear some answers.
Let's dive into it.
I'm on Twitter right now.
he's live tweeting it. Traditionally it is a Mexican lager with hot sauce, Worcester sauce, cayenne pepper, black pepper, salt, Tabasco sauce, and lime juice. Don't forget the lime juice. Very important. Nothing goes better with a Mexican lager than a little bit of lime.
Did you put all of those things in here?
I put all of those things in here.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I
do
really
like it.
all of the flavors.
It definitely spices it up. It punches it up. If you like a spicy drink, this is kind of in your wheelhouse a little bit. You'll identify with this drink very well. Spicy margaritas, anything with a tahini rim. And by the way, that was the one thing I didn't mention. It's got a tahini rim. You got to go with a tahini rim.
Thank you, Mexico.
Yeah, thank you, tahini. You know what I'm saying?
They the thing about this drink is sometimes when you have a spicy drink, you want to just burn, like right on their tongue. Yeah. This doesn't burn as much on your tongue. It does a little bit, but it kind of more is like a burn throughout. Yeah. It's like if you were drinking this outside in 20-degree weather, I think you would be warm because of how much this just kind of burns your insides.
It coats, it has it's like a warm coat on the inside when it kind of goes down. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. And a first for the show, I will say. It is the first beer cocktail.
Ooh.
This is considered a beer cocktail. Because it is mostly just beer, but there's no liquor. And
do they call that a boktail?
It's a beer tail, actually.
I don't know. I've heard it being called different things.
Boktail. It sounds like there's some sort of like chicken resemblance to that name. Like it's got some chicken stock in it. Mm-hmm. That might be weird. I don't know.
It's really good.
It's a good recovery drink. That's what I went into this episode wanting to feature some sort of. When I typed in recovery drink, I didn't get a lot of recipes. I got like, hey, here's the phone number for the nearest rehab center for alcoholism. Yeah. So I had to change it up, and I said hangover cocktail.
Okay, so that's what I was going to ask when you say recovery. Is that because you were in Las Vegas?
I was
this morning.
I am recovering slight hangover. I'm championing through. Nah, it was nothing. It was just one night in Las Vegas. Flew in.
Las Vegas isn't even good anymore.
Yeah, it's gone way downhill. Nothing special about it.
There's a lot of crime. It's really dangerous. They don't really have anything nice there.
It'll just take all your money. Nothing nice, honestly.
And the drinks are really expensive for not nice.
And the food sucks.
Yeah. I feel like I go there and I come back with less money.
Yeah.
Almost every time.
Do you want to go to a place that doesn't have an Olive Garden? Go to Las Vegas. They don't have any.
Are you sure about that?
Nah, I think they do.
They probably have
They don't have any on the Strip. They don't have one in every casino like I hope there would be.
They have or maybe it's isn't that place being torn down or refurbished? But they have that Outback Steakhouse.
Ooh, they do.
Right?
In the what's it called?
Casino Royale.
Casino Royale, aka the Best Western.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's right.
That's the hotel attached to it.
Yeah. So technically, I think it's just the Best Western.
You know, the Best Western is a great hotel if you're looking for like a middle of the road, 25% chance may get stabbed.
Yeah. They actually have some pretty nice hotels, which is really weird because they have some really awful ones too.
They do. It's like Holiday Inn, hit or miss.
True.
Hit or miss.
If it's Holiday Inn in Bora Bora, probably good.
Yeah.
Probably a hit. If it's Holiday Inn in Kansas,
Akron, Ohio.
Okay.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
If it's any hotel,
in Akron, Ohio.
No offense.
We love Akron.
Yeah.
Shout out to all my Akrons.
Yep.
Is that what you call who? How do you?
It's Acronian.
Acronians.
Yeah,
yes.
add the onion. To
Oh, that's true.
It's kind of like Star Trek, you know.
Yeah, I get that.
No,
I get that.
I don't know. This is actually a special episode that we have today because
It's very special.
This is the 2024 U.S. presidential debate moderated by At the Lucky Duck podcast.
We're moderating it. We're giving you
Except
all the hot takes.
all of the candidates actually decided not to show up.
It's weird. It's really weird. Last minute too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we had this and everything, and then they were like, well, I'm not going. And then we were like, well, you have a contract. And long story short, when you're running for president, you can do what you want. And we basically aren't going to do that today.
Yeah. Well, can we say the real reason?
Oh, because Biden went to bed.
Well, yeah, no, because we couldn't get their what do they call it? Their
signature.
No, it's the thing that they like an act, like a band wants in their green room.
Oh.
You know I can't remember the name of it. There's a certain name. You know, like some people want M&Ms and like champagne. Biden and Trump both wanted the same thing, and it was a kilo of cocaine. Sorry, can't get that.
Yeah,
can't get that. Turns out the presidents and ex-president just hyped up on coke the entire time.
It makes a lot of sense when you watch them on TV.
Yeah, they're kind of energized.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're pretty energized.
Do you know any other 70, 80-year-old person who's that energized?
I can't even get that energized.
Right.
I'm being honest. You know, I may sound like I'm all put together right now, but it's all an act. It's mostly just the drink.
Yeah.
You know.
And by the way, it's not for not trying. We were just in Mexico. But turns out you can't bring cocaine back.
Turns out you'll get stopped, and there's some fingers and some small cavities that they'll check.
And you better have a lot of cash on you.
Yep.
Okay, or you're going to prison.
Yeah, you're going to Mexican prison, and boy, let me tell you, you do not want to be there.
Yeah, like have you ever heard of Colombian prison? Because it's pretty much second to that.
Yeah, it's slightly better than Colombian prison. You are you choking on the tajin?
It got a little bit in my throat. I haven't even taken a sip.
You respect the drink. You got to respect the drink because it'll treat you bad if you don't.
The thing is, I'm really into rims. I feel like a lot of people they either don't get he
likes to rim his drinks.
You know when you go to get a margarita and they ask you if you want the rim, right?
Yeah. You're like, what?
Of course. Who doesn't?
If I get a margarita and it don't have a rim, send it back.
Yeah. And it better be spicy rim. I don't want just a bunch of salt.
Yeah, don't give me and if you say, "Do you want sugar?" I'm walking out.
Yeah. I'll throw it back into their face.
Yeah, I'll be like, "No, thank you."
Yeah. I'll take it and then throw it back into their face.
Yeah. And then he'll like scoop up the what fell on the floor from him throwing it in their face, and he'll rethrow that in their face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, that sounds like something you would do for sure, dude.
I would do that.
Dude, that's like Tuesday.
Yeah. I did that.
Yeah. There's a lot of margaritas on Tuesday. How many do you think there's more margaritas on Saturday that are made in the United States across the board, or on Tuesday?
Because of Taco Tuesday?
Because of Taco Tuesday.
Oh.
Think about it.
That's a really good question.
Could be a toss-up.
I feel like Taco Tuesday is a thing, but it's not like as popular as just going out to eat on a Saturday in general. Because there's a lot of places that serve margaritas. You don't just have to go to a Mexican place.
Oh,
You
that's
could
true.
just go to a good place with a margarita.
I'm being really culturally insensitive right now by saying that, because suggesting that margaritas are isolated to a taco-based dish place.
I mean, we appropriate cultures in the U.S.
Yeah,
so-
you can get a margarita at an Italian place.
Right.
At the Olive Garden.
You probably can, most definitely.
You could probably go to Arby's and whip up a margarita. They may not have it on the menu, but it's one of those secret menu things, you know?
Is that the thing where they took your idea about using the water that drips from when you're blow drying your hands, and they use the water for a cocktail?
Yeah.
There's not actually any alcohol in it. Maybe a little bit from the fermentation of all the
It fermented
bacteria.
a little bit, yeah. Yeah, it's the wrong kind of alcohol that you want. But it's
the one that makes you blind.
It'll make you feel not normal. That's the same thing that a margarita does, you know?
I mean, alcohol is just poisoning your brain, right?
Yeah, and let's talk about for a second the secret menu at Arby's. Not just the margarita, but if you go up to an Arby's and be like, yo, let me hear about your secret menu, you might get something different from chain to chain. And that's what I love about Arby's is like you go to a different one and the secret menu is a slightly different. So you may go to one, right down the road, and the secret menu is just like a quesadilla, but then you might go to one up in the mountains, and they're like, yeah, it's just a snow cone with Arby's horsey sauce on top of it, and then that's their secret menu.
All right, hold on. I have one question.
Yeah.
What is horsey sauce?
You don't know what it is?
Is that real?
Google it.
Is that a real thing?
It is. It is.
No,
It's the Arby's horsey sauce. Yeah. All you Arbanians know what I'm talking about.
Arbanians?
Yeah, that's the people who live at Arby's.
It's the white sauce? Is it like horseradish?
Yeah, it's like a horseradish sauce.
Is horseradish, does that have any relation to horses?
Well, I didn't want to upset PETA in this episode, like we have been concurrently throughout the season. But yes, it does. It is a byproduct of horses. You can fact check me on that.
It's a vegetable, actually.
Fuck. All right, 50-50. It was 50-50.
So that's a little bit weird that they call it horsey sauce.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they're trying to be cute.
That's
It's
kind of like pedophile cute.
You put a
right?
Y or an IE at the end of something, and it gets like 10% cuter.
This is literally like my vision of a pedophile is a guy going to Arby's and saying, "Can I get the horsey sauce?
Can I get that horsey sauce? I got that horse in me. I need to release it." So you just got back. You just traveled back today. What were you? You were coming from.
I came from
Yosemite,
California.
Sam.
Yosemite.
Yeah. So Yosemite is in. I always mix up Yosemite and Yellowstone. It's the Y in the front.
Yeah, I think that's kind of somewhat common. Some people do that.
One of the two of the most popular national parks in the United States.
Yeah.
Very, very world renowned, very famous.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of things in common there.
I think a lot of people would recognize a photo of the main area that people go to in Yosemite.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like, it's actually interesting because Zion National Park, which is a really another really popular one that's in Utah, is very similar, I think, to Yosemite. I think those are probably like two of the most similar parks because they are the main area where tourists go is just a valley, and you have the cliffs on this different cliffs on the side.
Right, it's the cliffs.
They look different. It's like a different type of rock and plants and things, but then you have the rest of Zion and the rest of the Yosemite, which is like a lot of backpacking or just other spots you can drive up to or drive through, and yeah. Anyway, so it's a cool park. A lot of people go there. Most people go in the summer because, summer break, things like that. Most people are on vacation. It's easier to travel. It's warm.
Yeah, it's a little more temperate for those who are afraid of outdoor winter activities.
Right.
Like first off, what did you do when you were there, and what other things can you do that you didn't do in the wintertime?
Yeah. So Honestly, it doesn't restrict you too much because you can still do so. Actually, I take that back. It restricts you quite a bit. If you're into backpacking, for instance, that would be pretty difficult in the winter. I think you can still do it. I don't think they close the trails or anything, but that's going to be something that's significantly more difficult. You have to have a lot more expertise and skill to do that.
Yeah, because you could die from the cold, right? What was the temperature while you were there? Obviously, it swings during the day, but
yeah, it wasn't too bad. It was between in the morning it would be like 30 degrees, and then in the midday it would be like 45, 50.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
And you just missed an incredible winter, icy, cold weather swing through the United States, right?
Yeah. So if we had gone last week instead, like it was cold pretty much everywhere, it would have been also very, very cold there. I think
definitely in the negatives, right?
I don't know if it was in the negatives there.
Oh, okay.
It could have been. The thing is, there's such a range in altitude there because it's in the mountains that you could be in the valley versus kind of up higher at a higher point, and it can be totally different. Like down in the valley, it had snowed recently. Before that, there wasn't really much snow in the valley, and but even with the snow, a lot of it's starting to melt. So there's parts of it where you'll see the ground, you'll see kind of like the typical like kind of dead trees and stuff. But then you can take a route up to an area called Badger Pass, which is where they have their ski slopes. They have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 kind of smallish slopes, but then 3 lifts. And up there's tons of snow. They actually don't even make snow there. So it's all just whatever falls, and then they groom it.
Get what you get.
Yeah. So up there we actually did, so like one of the things we did there was we snowshoed 7 miles to a point called Dewey Point, which overlooks the valley kind of from a higher up point. Because you can get to some different points driving to see the valley. So you'll see the 2 most, I think, iconic structures are El Capitan, which is the really popular one that climbers climb.
Right.
And then there's Half Dome, which is El Capitan. I think probably most people wouldn't recognize if they looked at it. Yeah. Because it's kind of just like a very long rock face. And then Half Dome is a lot like you would probably recognize it. You say like, oh, I've seen that before, because it literally looks like half of a dome and then cuts down. Oh. And it's just really cool looking. It's a lot more memorable than just a rock face.
Well, I would know the rock face because one of Mac's operating system was called El Capitan.
Ah, okay.
And the background wallpaper that came with that operating system was a picture of
They probably used Half Dome, though.
Yeah, that'd be really shitty of them. But
I feel like sometimes that gets mixed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can get views of that, because it's kind of like El Capitan comes first, and the Half Dome's more towards the back of where you can drive in the valley. And you can actually hike. You can hike to both, but Half Dome has this really insane hike, which I probably personally wouldn't do because I have somewhat of a fear of heights. They literally put cables, like 2 cables that go up the side. Yeah. And then I think they kind of have like almost like they're like wooden slats that go up every few feet, and you kind of just like climbing at some points. It almost looks vertical, right, going up, and then you have to go back down it while everyone else is going up and down at the same time.
Oh, there's not like another air, like okay, interesting. That does seem a little sketchy, sketchy.
I remember talking to someone a couple of years ago, and they were like, "Hey, I wasn't afraid of heights until I did that hike."
Oh my God, yeah.
So imagine being like halfway up and you're just like, fuck, I can't get back down.
Pretty sure I've seen this on Instagram of people actually doing it. You should put up a photo of it, because people have been staring at horsey sauce for the last 5 minutes.
That sounds delicious.
Eating horsey sauce on this hike.
Yeah, I mean,
sick.
Yeah, so like this is kind of like what it looks like. It's much longer than this, but the thing is, when you look at here's another photo.
We're looking at a kind of like a bare face rock.
Yeah.
With some cables on some metal prongs. Kind of looks like you just hook into it and
No.
then pull
So
up.
you can hook into it, but I think
Most
probably
people
most
don't?
people don't. Yeah.
Oh, so what if you like misstep a little bit?
Yeah, and you fall and then you die.
Yeah,
Most
not
likely.
not good.
Yeah, but yeah, it looks cool. It looks cool. Sarah really wants to do it. I don't know if I would ever do it. It's kind of like I don't know, maybe one day.
Yeah, maybe in the summertime too. You know,
Yeah, actually they take them down, I think, for the winter.
really.
So you can't do it in the winter.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think you can technically go up in the winter. I don't know if they stop you from doing it, but
Right.
uh
Kind of like
who's kind of like that much of a psycho is
Yeah.
someone who's okay with it.
I guess. So you went snowshoeing. How was that?
Yeah, so
You got the little tennis rackets on the bottom of your shoes?
it's
Is that-
essentially kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're a lot more modern nowadays. That's kind of like an Eskimo style snowshoe.
Yeah.
But, or some, like you'd see it in a cabin, you know?
Mhm.
The snowshoes nowadays are basically like if you took a sled and broke it into two and then used those instead. They're just plastic. They're like really,
really?
really hard plastic. And then they have a crampon on the bottom of them that if you're getting into an icy area, it'll stick into the
Yeah,
ice.
you don't want to slip.
Yeah, exactly. So that ended up being a really cool experience because or anyone who's ever snowshoed, there may be some people who enjoy the experience, but it's really not that fun. Like it may be fun for the first hour that you do it,
Yeah.
and then you probably never want to do it again if you're snowshoeing through deep powder
Right.
because it's very difficult. But
Yeah.
when you're snowshoeing on a trail that's been kind of packed down by like skiers and other snowshoers, then it's much more enjoyable because your chance of kind of pushing too far into the snow goes down a lot. So that ended up being a lot easier than we thought it would be. And then we got to this really, really cool viewpoint called Dewey Point. And that looks like this pretty much. Well, more like this.
Yeah.
So,
I could definitely see doing that would be pretty taxing because if you've ever walked through like on sand on a beach, you know how difficult that can be. So it's like very. I mean, you and I know from snowboarding, getting through powder is an ordeal, especially at altitude. What is the altitude over there in that area?
I want to say it's somewhere between like 7,000 to 10,000 feet. I think it depends where you're at.
Yeah. And for most people, anything above like a mile high is, pretty taxing on your
it's
body.
Definitely harder. I mean, for instance, like it was 7 mile hiking, but you have to bring 2 liters of water for yourself. I mean, you don't have to. You probably have a headache when you get back if you don't.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just tells you it's like, I think it took us 4.5 hours to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but it was totally worth it. You get this insane view. This picture I have up is basically Yosemite. So over here is El Capitan, which we were talking about. It's just that big face.
Mm-hmm.
And then so this is the view from where we were at. And then you can kind of see Half Dome over here. You can see a lot better in real life. But yeah, then you have all these other kind of less iconic looking things most people wouldn't recognize. And then the valley is down in the middle down there. So most people, when they visit, I think they get like, I wouldn't say it's either 3 or 5 million visitors. It's probably on the lower end, 3 million.
Yeah.
Because it's really, really popular, but the valley's pretty small. It's like not, you can drive from one side. It's kind of a long roundabout that goes around. But you can drive from one side to the other in like 30 minutes probably.
And how long did it take to get to that viewpoint from when you started snowshoeing?
Like after getting out of the car and getting into the
like when you
snowshoes?
officially start,
Oh yeah. It
hiking.
probably took like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was probably about the same there and back. Because when you're snowshoeing, you don't really go faster on the way back.
Yeah. And was there a good amount of elevation change?
It wasn't too much. Maybe around 1,000 feet or something.
Like you couldn't like cross country ski that shit.
Yeah, you can.
You can.
Yeah, there were people who were doing it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think the way cross country skis work is you can pop the back of your ski out, and then you can kind of like walk up steeper parts. There weren't that many steep parts, but yeah, I guess some of the guys are pretty good at it because we saw some people doing it. And
It'd
then
pretty fun to come down.
Yeah, it looked really fun.
You'd probably cut your time in half that way.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, those even going up, they were faster than us.
Oh yeah,
I
right.
don't know how, but they were. It's like they got a lot of wax under their skis, I guess.
I guess that, and they probably do that all the time.
Yeah.
If you're doing that type of thing.
Especially on the flatter areas, because they have their poles, so they're kind of just like gliding along.
And they kind of like make a skate motion where they're pushing their skis out, to the side inside.
Yeah, it's pretty unfair. So I was going to start a petition to get rid of cross-country skiers.
Ban the skis.
For us hikers,
Yeah, it's ruining the mountain.
Yeah, actually, they get kind of angry if you don't wear the snowshoes because at some points, there were actually some points where we took them off because the ground was, particularly in the morning, there was kind of an icy crust on the kind of packed trail. So for the most part, your feet wouldn't really sink in unless you stepped a little too far to the side, and then you're going in about a foot or so.
Okay.
And but the thing is, you don't know when that's going to happen, so they frown upon you not wearing the snowshoes most of the time because you can it's called post holing, and then you leave a big hole in the ground.
Oh yeah.
So that's like if you're on the ski slope and you have to like, push yourself up like as a snowboarder or something. Probably the skiers really hate that because it leaves holes in the
big holes.
ground.
Yeah.
And then they have to look for that when they're skiing so their ski doesn't go into it or something.
So you did snowshoeing. What other things were you up to when you were there?
So, a lot of what we were doing the first day we were there was the viewpoints and driving around.
Yeah.
So they have a bunch of viewpoints. So we actually got up for sunrise, which was at 5 a.m., I think. And that ended up being pretty cool because in the winter they have, I think it's like 2 or 3 days of kind of like sunlight or sunshine between storms. But there was a storm coming like on the back end of our trip. Actually rained on the last day. And so you can drive around and just see a bunch of these different areas. We had at some of the restaurants. They actually have a fine dining restaurant in the park.
Oh, wow.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
Are there other accommodations in the park?
Yeah, there are. Yeah, they have some campgrounds.
Right.
They have some kind of campgrounds that are like cabins, and then they have an actual lodge. And it's not anything, it's not like a big massive lodge that you might see in some kind of like in Glacier National Park. They have a couple of really massive, really cool lodges, but this one's more like hidden in the trees. Like you might not even really realize it's there unless you drove in and saw it, because the buildings are smaller and they're all brown and stuff, so they kind of blend in. It makes it really cool.
By design.
Yeah, I think so. It makes it feel a bit more remote. But so driving around mostly. And then the third day we were there, we actually spent hanging out in the town of Mariposa. So that was the organization we worked with there. It's called Yosemite Nation. And they had us come out and explore, and they wanted us to explore the town there because like most mountain towns, mining was the thing there back in the day.
Right.
That's what brought people there. I think that's probably what brought people near Yosemite at some point. And then that obviously went away. And now they just have, it's like kind of like a mountain town. Yeah. It's not really in the mountains, but that's kind of the same vibe. It's like it got that cute little downtown with some cool shops. They have a charcuterie shop there, which is probably the first time I've seen something like that, where you can go in and you can pick out meats and cheeses. They'll make you a cheese board or whatever you want. And then some different clothing shops and stuff. And it was a good time.
And how far away is that from the park?
That is like 45 minutes. So you have 3 entrances, I think, to get into the park. The one we went into was the southern entrance, and that comes from, if you flew into like Fresno or came from LA, I think, you could go into that entrance, but it kind of takes a while to get down to the valley area. It takes like another hour to get down to the valley area going in through that entrance.
Oh.
And then if you come from like the Bay Area, I think you're coming into through Mariposa.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, so Mariposa is actually a county as well. And most of Yosemite, most of the area that people go to in Yosemite is in Mariposa County.
Gotcha.
And so you go through that town and then you'd go into the valley area. That's probably the most popular entrance, I'd say, just because it's the easiest one to get into it, where people go. And then they have one other one, which I think is how you can take a pass that goes through the park, which is actually closed during the winter. So that's one of the things you can't do because of that elevation, the amount of snow. And I think that would take you, if you were going to go to Mammoth Lakes, you could take that and get over that way. But it would have to be, I want to say, probably, it depends on the snow that year, but maybe like May to October, something like that time range. But yeah, winter is good. There's definitely less you can do, but it's a cool experience. Just like most other places in the world, a lot of people will, they're a lot less traveled in the winter, with the exception of places like the Rockies because of skiing.
Right.
It's like the winter wonderland, whatever. But most people won't go to other places because it's like you can't really do as much. Hiking is harder, but it's a really cool experience. And spring and fall are actually less popular times to go as well, but are really, really cool. In fact, my favorite time to go to pretty much any park is probably fall, because it's usually cool out, it's not super hot, and there's a lot less people. And I don't know why, but it's just that way.
Maybe it's the back to school factor.
Yeah, it
in
could
the fall
be.
time.
Yeah.
People are taking a break from when they went on vacation in the summertime. They got plans for the winter time, seeing family for the holidays. And so there's kind of like a downtime in vacation spending. And that's
kind of like right now too, because it does pretty much like anywhere, because people are traveling for Christmas, New Year's. It does get kind of popular there, but then it dies down right after that. And you could tell, I mean, it was like when we went to Dewey Point, there were only a couple other people that we saw.
Really?
The whole time. Yeah. Wow. And then throughout the park, it was just like, you want to pull over and see this? There's probably no one else there. You could get pictures anywhere you wanted to. Yeah. It was really, really easy. Whereas if you go in the summer, it's like a gridlock. There's so many people trying to go in and out of the park. They have a reservation system now for it.
Do you need to make a reservation for this time of year?
Not this time of year, no.
Okay, so it probably opens up sometime in May or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's April to October. I think the beginning of October.
And I'm assuming, what was the name of the town that you were in?
Mariposa.
Mariposa is probably propped up almost entirely by tourism. Would that be an accurate thing to say?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very, very small town. There's not a lot of people living there, even in the surrounding area. I think it's a lot of farmland and things. Really? Yeah. So, or just people who have lots of land who aren't really doing anything with it. They're just kind of living in a rural area.
Like the privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I dig it.
So, yeah, there's I think pretty much anything there is kind of geared towards tourism. But it was really nice because we got to go and everything was still open. I think they take like at the beginning of January, maybe a week off. A lot of the places will close so the owners can travel and stuff. But beyond that, pretty much everything was open, and it was like they have some pretty. This is the one thing I like about exploring these towns that I wouldn't necessarily normally stop in. So like when we were in West Virginia, we stopped in a few little towns there too, and you can be like, it's very surprising sometimes the types of stores you'll find there, because you might kind of think like, oh, it's a tiny rural town. What am I expecting here? And then you go in and you find like a plant shop with like tons of dried flowers, and you can pick out a bouquet or something, or like a a kind of art boutique kind of place where the local artists can sell their paintings and whatever else they're creating. And this is kind of like that's the kind of town they have. And then they had some cool bars. I had some cocktails at some of those places, and they're actually really, really good. And then we went to this place. It was called Junebug Cafe, and it was literally like we got out of the park. We went to where we were staying, which is a place called Auto Camp. It's like a glamping place. So they have a bunch of Airstreams, and you stay in the Airstream.
Okay,
it's a neat idea. And then they have a kind of central amenity space where you can get s'mores and stuff, things like that. And they have a little bar and kitchen and stuff. But we go to this place called Junebug. It's down the street from us, but it's literally like I mean, there may be a sign there, but at night you don't see it because it's very, very dark. So we just turn down this random street, and I'm like, how is there a restaurant back here? We're just driving for a while, and it turns out I think it's at a campground or something. And we go to this place, and it's the kind of place where you walk in and you go up and you order, and then they give you a little thing and you go and sit down. And it was our expectations were very low for this place, and I ended up getting sweet potato and gnocchi, and Sarah got a like a lentil shepherd's pie, and it was fucking delicious. And it was so weird that this random place that probably no one knows about except locals and stuff, or people staying at this campground, has this delicious food.
And was it busy?
It was like somewhat. I think probably a lot of the campers are eating there. Yeah, but not too bad.
Nice.
And it probably gets busier in the summer. Like all the places probably get packed. I can imagine, because all the hotels are packed up.
Yeah,
but it's cool. Yeah, I would recommend anyone visit like any season, probably except summer, honestly. Like I'd also like to go in summer. I've never been there in the summer, but I'd probably be perfectly okay with not and just going in like October. I've heard is a really good month there because the traffic's died down. There's not as many people and it's cooler out.
And the leaves really are probably changing.
Yeah. So
area,
you can assume you're starting to get some fall. So it's.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of like what you described of what you appreciate in the smaller towns. You know, the unincorporated, non-corporate kind of entities in town. You know, is what America probably was before everybody started merging together, and then you had big box stores like Kohl's and Best Buy and a lot of that stuff. I imagine those are the remnants of our past, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely something that I think you think about while you're there too. You're like, oh, there's not a Walmart here or a Walgreens here or whatever. And you're like, what do people do here? Like, how do they get their groceries? Yeah, it's a cool experience.
Have you gone to Yosemite before?
Yeah, one time in the winter.
Okay.
I think it was in 2016. So it was also in the winter. Yeah. And we did a camper van that time. So we stayed in a van at a campground nearby. But we were a lot less prepared for things, so we didn't do as much. We just did a lot of driving around, and then we did a waterfall hike. And I remember hiking the trail and it taking like 5 times longer than it should because there was so much ice, and we didn't at the time know what people do to hike on ice. And so we were just like walking really, really slowly and getting across patches of ice, and you'd see people who are walking fast and you're like, man, they're really confident, and all of a sudden they'd slip and fall.
Oh no.
And you're like, okay.
Yeah, like, I'm not overthinking this then.
But now we know you can use microspike crampons, things like that.
And those are little straps that you put around your existing hiking boots, right?
Yeah.
You just strap on. It's like it's like chains for your tire.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just help you grip the ice. Like there's ones that are actual spikes that stick into the ice. There's ones that are kind of more like pieces of metal, kind of like almost like cleats, so like much smaller, that just give you a little bit more grip. But there's nothing like walking on ice without that and you feel fine, because when you can hear the crunching, when there's the snow there, or the ice has kind of been torn up a little bit, so it's not like that slick, icy surface. Yeah, you're good. But as soon as you hit the slippery ice, your foot just instantly slides. Like there's nothing you can do to not slide. Yeah, and it's a shitty feeling. So yeah, bringing crampons, which by the way you can bring on a plane, which is really surprising to me.
Weird, yeah, because they're spiky.
Yeah, real spiky.
You could like use it. You could swing them around, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah. It hurts somebody.
It's like almost the equivalent of having like a throwing star or something.
Is it that sharp?
Or like, do you know the what's that called in medieval times? The ball with the spikes
the mace?
On it. Yeah, the mace. Yeah, it's like having something like that. I mean, they're not super sharp, but they can be. Like, you could wreck somebody's face with it.
Right. You probably couldn't kill somebody, but you could do some damage.
You could probably kill somebody. You could probably cut their throat open.
Probably if it was like one-on-one. But if you're on a plane, you get a couple swipes, and then somebody, some big guy with a "Don't Tread on Me" T-shirt comes behind you and beats the shit out of you. You know?
Well, so the thing that pisses me off is that you can bring these deadly spikes on the plane, but I can't bring my fucking hiking poles.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I got them taken away.
Oh, yeah. You had to throw them away?
Well, so, yeah, I was going through TSA, and I get through, and they're like, I had to look in your bag, and she pulls out the hiking poles, and they're the kind that break down. So it's like this long, broken into pieces, and then it comes out. And she's like, "Oh, you can't bring these on the plane." And I didn't know if she was right or not. And it doesn't actually matter, apparently, because the TSA has final say on anything. So you could have like your diamond ring on, and the TSA could be like, "You can't bring that." Yeah. And then you're just like, so you check your bag. That's one option, or you don't fly on your flight. Or you throw it away.
That's why they're so grumpy and power hungry. When you go, you ever get to a couple of those experiences when they're like, "Hey man, be nicer." Yeah. They don't have to be.
Yeah, they don't have to.
They don't have to be.
That's the thing. Yeah, and it's like, what are you gonna do? Complain? Oh, my TSA agent was mean. Which one? Yeah. I don't think they have name tags.
You're like, all of them? All right, move along.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I didn't have time to check my bag. I would miss my plane if I had to go all the way back and check it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, these are yours now. Yeah. Or somebody else's who wants to collect them. Yeah. So they probably went to Lost and Found or something. I don't know. I don't know what they do with all the things they confiscate.
One time I was in Nashville going through security in TSA, and a guy was getting all huffy puffy that they took away his knife. He brought a knife in his bag, and they were like, "Are you kidding me?" Like they were like, what did you expect us to do? And he's like, have you ever heard of 9/11? I wonder how many things some of the bigger airports like Denver, I wonder how many things a day. Yeah. They should start maybe they already did this, but they should start like a Twitter just dedicated to like showcasing items that they confiscated.
They should, or TikTok.
Yeah. All right, today's haul, we got 2 pocket knives, a gun, a rocket launcher, weird, and some hiking sticks, hiking poles.
Some hiking poles, yeah. Like, which one's the worst? Definitely the hiking poles.
Definitely the hiking poles. Those things are
this
hella
piece of
dangerous.
Shit tried to bring these on the plane.
How many times do you think in the history of hiking poles that somebody's like died because of them? You know, well, not the lack thereof, but like injuries sustained by hiking poles.
So I got a little bit. Number one, to answer your question, 0 probably. Yeah, but I got triggered a couple months ago when I was flying because, and this was after the hiking pole incident. I'm getting on a plane and I'm trying to put my suitcase up into the overhead bin, and it's not going in. I'm like, what is in here? And sometimes they're really high, so you can't really see deep into them, because they kind of go down. Right. And so I'm looking, trying to figure out what's in there, and I see a hiking stick, totally pulled out. Yeah. Hiking pole.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, what the fuck is this doing here? Just one. So I take it out and I'm like, first off, whoever brought this on the plane, you're arrested now.
You snuck
You're
this
going
in.
to jail. We got him.
We got him, ladies and gentlemen.
So I take it out and I just put it on the chair next to me. And I was like, trying to call the flight attendant over. I was like, someone left their hiking pole on the plane. Because it was like, clearly nobody would put their hiking pole in the overhead bin.
Right.
Like completely pulled out to take an entire bin. And it turns out that the lady sitting directly in front of me it's like her walking stick.
Oh no.
Yeah. And she put it up there. And I was like, I will kill you right now. I'm sorry that you need this, but why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's like the most...
Break it down, dude.
So I was like both angry because I got mine taken away. And at the same time also angry because she took the whole fucking bin.
Yeah, that's rude.
I know.
Yeah, break it down. Break it down, lady.
Also,
inconsiderate.
Do something else with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, why do you need it?
Yeah.
Get something.
Get a walking stick.
Yeah, get a cane.
Yeah, get a cane, exactly.
Like that's weird. I don't know. Flying's weird, man. Flying these days, people will do the funkiest shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, the other thing I considered is maybe it wasn't really hers, but no one else was claiming it. And she was like, that's a pretty nice, because it was, I think, Black Diamond pole.
Oh, okay.
And
those are expensive.
A nicer brand, yeah. So maybe she was like, oh, I'm going to claim this right now. And all she had to do was look like an ass. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I was like, if you're using that to walk, why did you have that in the first place? You weren't hiking.
Exactly.
You weren't hiking.
Exactly.
I know
right.
you, just off the look of you, I know you ain't hiking, lady.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so
hiking poles.
I hate that.
Don't bring them. Don't even think about it.
Pack them in your bag. It's weird the difference of things you can pack in your bag, things you can't. I was talking to Sarah about this today because we ordered a new battery for our drone. So like lithium batteries you can bring in the passenger part of the plane, but you can't pack.
Right, you can't bring them
in your luggage.
Yeah,
for
your check bags.
Check bag, yeah. So it can't go in the cargo area, but it can still go in the plane. And it's like, why?
Probably because if they were to explode, you could put out the fire because there's people there. But if it explodes in the cargo area, a lot harder to put out fire. I'm guessing that's why.
Yeah, that was my guess as well. And I think that is correct. When I took my drone exam, I had to know battery safety. And I learned about how the material, the chemical that's used to put out fires, because they actually have fire extinguishers in the cargo hold in case something catches fire in there.
Right. But
with lithium batteries, there's something like when you have other lithium batteries and one starts burning, I forget, there's this really gnarly sounding term that is basically like it will burn faster and harder. And then if it catches another battery, then it's just like causes more chaos. And the stuff chemical that they use, they can't put it out or something like that. Really? Yeah. So I'm like, if it's your laptop in your bag in the overhead bin, is it like, wouldn't you rather have it in the cargo hold? You know what I mean? Like it starts burning in the plane and then you all suffocate from the smoke. Yeah, I guess. Or you could just, throw it in the bathroom, close the door real quick. Just be like, not dealing with that until we land. Just gonna leave that alone in there. Pull the fire extinguisher, the fire alarm out. Yeah. All the oxygen masks drop and everything. Yeah. The worst would be if you threw it into the little trash in the bathroom. Yeah. Oh yeah. The little it'd be a little harder. Or flush it down the toilet. Ooh. Right. When you hear that it just sucks it right down. Yeah, it removes all the oxygen. Yeah, you ever thought about if you were sitting on the toilet and you hit that button, what would happen?
You just suck all your innards out. You turn your asshole inside out,
It
right?
would suck your penis right off.
It just rip everything that it can right off. You know, I used to think when I was younger that like that when you press that, it just shot out the side of the airplane, and so you'd be like somebody in Kansas somewhere, just get like a little like it's like clear as day out, and all of a sudden they get a little.
Yeah, it's true. They probably do that.
If it really did happen like that, you could have a turd kill somebody. Just the amount of like force from falling out of the sky like that.
Yeah, I mean, what if you had corn the night before? You know,
little
corn.
pellets come out.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're like, where does this corn come from?
I saw a video today of somebody on the sidewalk in New York City, and some of the icicles were falling off the buildings onto the street. You got hit by one of those, you're dead. Like, you know, like it's like the idea of like throwing something off the side of the Empire State Building, and then like if it hits somebody, they're dead. Like you die instantly. You know.
Yeah. Wonder if that's true.
You know.
Is it true that actually would kill somebody?
I feel like if you threw your phone off the side of the building,
that's what everyone has said. Yeah.
It definitely would if it hits you right in the head. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I don't know about like a penny. What if you threw a penny off the side of the Empire State Building? Would it gain enough velocity and, you know, all the way at the bottom and hit somebody in the head? I feel like somebody has tested this, you know, done the calcs, you know. There is a bit of like wind resistance, I think it's called, where you know, slow it down potentially.
Yeah. So apparently Mythbusters debunked it as a myth.
Oh, okay. I've been speaking untruths.
So maybe a phone, but at least the penny thing, they said that their findings demonstrate that even after falling from a great height like the Empire State Building, the penny would not have enough energy to inflict severe harm or cause death.
Right. So you would need enough mass, essentially, for something to gain enough speed to do bodily harm. Yeah,
like I don't know if it's enough mass. For instance, like a bullet from like a handgun is about the same size, like the actual part that goes into someone, right? It's like the same size as a penny, pretty much. I mean, even smaller, I guess.
Right.
Maybe a little thicker, but it has more energy when it goes through your body.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more so like if you dropped a bowling ball from the ceiling onto my head, could kill me. But if you dropped a penny from the ceiling onto my head, definitely not doing anything.
Okay, that's a good point. So you're right. I think the mass could definitely,
like, they will both
like
fall at the same speed.
Yeah. The piano would murder.
Yeah.
we know that from all the cartoons.
Yes. In fact, if you dropped a piano 2 feet above me, I might die.
Do you think anyone's actually ever died from a piano falling on them?
I bet you they have. Yes,
it's gotta be a thing, right?
Yeah. I don't know. You walk through New York and you look up, and some of those big apartment buildings have window shakers just hanging right off the side.
Yeah.
And they're like, you see hundreds of them on the sides of these buildings. You're like, man, one of those has had to fall.
I've totally thought about that before, particularly when we were living in Boston, because they had tons of those.
Yeah.
And
one of those fall, you ain't making it. Sorry. Like, there's no way. Unless it hit like your hand. Then you just don't have a hand. It just obliterates whatever is left.
So someone has died, apparently.
From a piano?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stop putting pianos up high. There should be a law. After the first guy dies, they're like, okay, you can't put pianos above floor 3. And if you do, they got to be brought in internally, not via, the old-fashioned cartoon crane that's bringing it up.
The thing is, that's the only way, I guess. You can't get the piano through the small doors.
There's no freight elevators that go up that high. Yeah, I get it. I'm hip to it. But at the same time, you could disassemble it, but that's really expensive.
Yeah.
And you can't do some of those antique,
They should just make it
pianos.
illegal to have a piano in your home unless you had the piano maker build it in your home.
All right. Well, okay, Biden, calm down. Don't tread on my piano. Okay.
I'm sorry. You're right.
But yeah, I mean, it'd be even more ridiculous flying, putting a piano on a plane.
Yeah.
There's got to be some guy that has a big enough private jet, and he was like, "Yeah, put a piano in it."
Yeah.
Maybe Elton John had a piano on his private jet.
I gotta imagine because he probably gets bored and is like, I need the keys.
I got a hunger that can only be satisfied with the keys.
They're like, sir, would you like a drink tonight? And he's like, no,
not until I play my keys. Yeah.
I guess it would fit on a plane, one of those larger.
Yeah, or like a baby grand piano or something like that.
Yeah.
Depending on how wide the plane is, you could probably put one on Air Force One easily.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like JFK is like,
he's got to have one.
all my side piece girls love being swooned by the keys.
Yeah, but except he doesn't actually know how to play. So
Yeah.
he just pretends that it plays a song.
All you got to do is hit the black keys.
Black keys.
Because as long as you have some sort of rhythm, you can make that sound
Yeah,
good.
true.
Yeah, he was one of those guys. He's like whips out the guitar, and they're like, "Oh, here we go." All the secret security just roll their eyes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, here he goes again.
Probably.
He thought he was the best.
I can imagine.
I noticed when I was flying, I took Frontier because, cheap. In fact, so cheap. My flight to Vegas was, I guess how much my flight to Vegas was. I'll let you guess. What do you think it was? Before taxes and fees. Because that's like a fixed cost.
I think the cheapest I've ever seen is like $24.
Okay. I flew to Vegas, the one way to Vegas from Denver, for 7 cents.
Really?
7 cents, and then it has like $30 or so of fees, like taxes, airline fees, regulatory fees, things like that. 7 cents. My seat, if you wanted to buy a seat on Frontier, is like $30 is the cheapest seat you can buy. So of course I don't do that. I just I get assigned a seat, which now, if you're flying with somebody, say you buy an airline ticket. For me, it was me and my wife, Janie. You're on the same ticket, right? So when you check in for both people. If you decline to buy a seat at the point of purchase of your flight with Frontier, it will randomly assign you one at the time of check-in. Now, normally, in my past, I've flown Frontier quite a bit. I live in Denver. That's where they're based. Most, flights with Frontier are out of Denver. They will normally put you guys together if they can. They have 2 seats that are open, normally in the back, right? Because that's where all the seats that don't get occupied or don't get bought up. Now, what they do, and they're doing this intentionally, I think, this is still a theory. I don't want to smear Frontier. But the last couple times I've flown, they will put you in the opposite places of the plane. I said that weird. They will put one person towards the front, and they'll put one person in the back.
Do you think this because there were open seats?
There were. Yeah.
So
because when you check in, they'll get you're E9.
Yeah.
Oh, and now you're 23D. Or whatever. It's usually a middle seat in the back. And then they'll be like, but you can upgrade and buy a seat, and then it'll show you all the seats available still, and there's plenty of seats. They're doing that to discourage you from not buying a seat when you first buy your plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, because before, every single time I've flown Frontier prior to the last couple times, they've always put us together, no matter what.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they ever did that in the past.
Yeah.
Because I always thought it made sense for them to purposely not sit you together.
Yeah.
Because they tell you when you're booking, hey, if you don't buy your seat, then we'll randomly assign you, even if you're in the same party. You could not be sitting together.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you go up to them like, hey, what the heck? You guys have seats still open. There's 2 there. There's 2 there. There's like half the plane still that you could buy. They're going to go, oh,
Should have bought a
Man,
seat.
that's so crazy. I'm so sorry that happened. But like, you can buy a seat.
So that's so funny because I think this happened on United, which I was really surprised about because I feel like they're a pretty decent airline.
Mhm.
But I remember boarding once and or maybe it was like American or Delta because for the past like year now I've had status with United, so I've always boarded in a earlier group, but for some reason I was boarding in a later group, so maybe it wasn't United, but it was one of the major airlines, and this guy was trying to get on, and he had one of those kind of suitcase looking things where it holds a bunch of camera equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And he's bringing it with him on through the jet bridge, and we're in group 4 or 5 or whatever, and one of the person working for the airline comes out. I think it was the person who works at the what do they call that, the front, like where the gate is, the gate attendant, right?
Gate attendant, yeah.
She was yelling at him because she was like, "Oh, like you can't bring. There's no more space on the plane. You have to check it." And he's like, "Well, I can't because these are all lithium. There's a bunch of lithium batteries in here, and I can't. You can't put those. It can't check those." And she's like, "Well, you should have bought a better seat then." And he goes, "Well, I did, but my last flight got canceled, and so I got put on this flight, and they put him into like a standby or whatever it was, and so he had to get on the plane later,
Right,
because of that, or what, for whatever reason, right? Like he had a better seat." And she was just like, "Well, you should have," like she was arguing with him,
well,
like,
you shouldn't have picked that flight that got canceled, dumbass.
yeah. And I was just like, "Lady, what do you want him to do? Like he has lithium batteries. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
There's a rule that you can't.
What did they do though?
He just brought them on, and they found somewhere to put them.
They just kind of like shifted.
I
some
think they
things
can
around.
actually put
They shifted
some bags in
the
back or
walking
something.
pole that the
Yeah,
lady stuck
probably.
in.
Yeah. Well, there's people who will put their backpacks up and
Yeah,
stuff. So I
exactly.
think sometimes the flight attendants will go around and open the things and be like, "Hey, is this somebody's bag?" And then give it to them.
Yeah.
They put it under the seat.
Yeah, put that shit under the seat, you
Yeah.
garbage human being.
Yeah, but I was really surprised to see that because I was just like, I mean, I feel like when you're paying for a nicer airline and you get a carry-on, like you paid for a carry-on, right? United.
Well, United, and there's only one ticket that doesn't allow you to get a free carry-on.
Yes.
Because all of their and they used to not do this. They created that whole new category, that basic economy ticket, and that's the one that doesn't give you the check or the carry-on.
And then you can buy a check bag or whatever.
But life pro tip to what you just described: if you're one of those people that's got a late boarding group and you've got the carry-on because it came with your ticket, just say there's lithium batteries in there, and they'll figure that shit out.
Yeah.
Apparently,
yeah, they will. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that always. I just thought that was so shitty that she said that because I was like, what if you were just late? Yeah. What if you were a like diamond status person and you were running late to your flight because your last flight came in late, and she was like, "You should have bought a better seat," and you're like, "I'm in first class."
Yeah, you should have ran a little faster.
Yeah.
Well, in first class they do have dedicated overhead.
Yeah, they do, right.
Yeah.
But it was just, but they don't know. Like, you're coming onto the plane late. They just assume that you're in group 5 or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just such a rude thing for the lady to say.
That's when you flex your little like complimentary luggage tag that all members get. Have you gotten that email yet? Where they're like, you can get your complimentary gold status luggage tag, so you can show everybody else that you're better than them.
I know. So when you get like platinum, I think it's 1K or whatever.
No, platinum and then 1K.
Yeah, 1K is the highest, right?
Yeah.
So if you ever get 1K, you get the luggage tag, and then everyone will always think you have 1K, even when you're like a gold member.
Yep. It's so true. I don't know.
But I didn't end up getting gold this year because I didn't decide to spend the extra money.
Okay.
It was like,
you were so close though, weren't you?
I needed 198 PQP miles.
Wow.
I don't know why they call them miles. It has nothing to do with miles. It's just how much money you spend.
Yes.
And I could have spent almost $300 to upgrade my flight to first class. on one of the last flights I was taking of the year. It was like the last weekend of December. I was coming back.
You're cutting it a
It
little
was like
close,
December
buddy.
23rd. I was coming back on the flight, and I could have upgraded that one. But I was like, I'm cheap, so I didn't. And then, so I got the upgrade offer, that they send you.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, hey, you were close, so this is how much you could pay us money to upgrade.
And how much was it?
It's like I think it's like $360 or something.
Oh, interesting.
Right around there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, shit, maybe
You didn't get anything though.
I
You
know.
could have paid less and got first class.
I know.
And now you're
Yeah.
shit out of luck.
So I was thinking about calling them just to find out if you can actually haggle with them. I've heard the answer is no, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get someone who's nice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, bend the rules for you a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the gold versus was it silver is like I think there's not a whole lot of difference.
It's the biggest jump though between
Is
all
it?
the
No.
silver status has the worst it has like the lowest value benefit
Gotcha.
for how much money you spend to get the status.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I hope no one's out there just like trying to get an airline status,
Yeah.
It's like you should just naturally get it,
flying
right?
just to get the status. Yeah.
I mean, I almost did, but it was because I was like 200 points away.
You were close.
Yeah. But no one's out there like, I want to get silver this year, so I'm gonna take some extra flights or something.
Yeah.
But it's not that good of value. Gold is like the next highest if you utilize kind of all the benefits, and then each one is kind of like less of a jump between silver and gold, as it is between silver and gold.
Yeah.
But I like with gold, I think the three benefits I would use is one, being able to book the economy plus at check-in or at booking time.
Yeah.
The second one would be the 70-pound bags, because occasionally I do have my bag could weigh over 50. Like I could put more things in it.
Yeah.
And then the third would be international flights. You can use their lounges if they have one in the airport.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's pretty good.
But otherwise, meh.
Yeah. Yeah, you do get closer to like getting if there's upgrades available to first class, you can upgrade easily to first class.
I forgot you also get more miles.
Oh, right. Yeah, you earn more per flight. Right. Yeah.
So that could have potentially been worth it for me to spend the 200, because I could have maybe gotten more miles for flight awards. I don't know if that would have actually been beneficial or not, and that's why I was just like, whatever.
Yeah.
Airline status is stupid. Everyone
It
says
is, and
shitty value nowadays.
And then exactly. And it's gotten me a little bit, because now I'm like looking at, when I'm looking to buy a flight somewhere, I look at United first.
Yeah.
And then if it's a little bit more, I'll like still consider buying that over something else, just because I know I have status, I can get all the perks with it, and it's like somewhat worth the extra spend and stuff. So it works, I get it, but still, if I can get a 7-cent flight on Frontier to Vegas, I'm not buying United. Like I do have my limitations, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that's the only situation. That's pretty rare though, to find a flight that cheap on Frontier to the place that you want to go for the date that you want to go there.
I mean, it was like a flight on a Saturday. Flights on Saturdays, the places are really cheap. Just normally, but it's that's definitely the cheapest flight I've ever taken. That takes the cake. I don't know if there's other flights that are cheaper than 7 cents.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I wonder. I don't know. I guess the potential benefit for them is that you might buy something on board or buy a seat or something.
Yeah, the seats are $30. The carry-on is $70 for one way. It's so crazy, dude.
You know what they should have done is just done a special promo where it's like oh, your fare instead of being 7 cents is like $25 because you probably still would have booked it if it was that cheap, right?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But you get a seat with it.
Mm.
And so now instead of them maybe getting $30, but probably getting 7 cents, they got 25 or something.
Well, it ruins their whole model across the board because there's not that many of these flights. Like going to Vegas at this time of year, it's not like the most popular time to go to Vegas. It's also on a Saturday, the least busiest day to fly. So to accommodate just those types of flights being so cheap, it would ruin the rest of their model because everything else is like they're charging $100 plus.
Was it cold in Las Vegas?
No, not really. Well, I don't know. Define relatively, I suppose, for
Warmer
some
than
people.
here, right?
Yeah, it was definitely warmer in here. I mean, it was in the 60s during the day, and then at night it was, creeped down into the 50s, 40s.
It get a little
maybe.
chilly there because sometimes it gets a little bit windy.
A little windy. It wasn't windy though this time. We went mostly just we always wanted to go to this steakhouse.
Formula One.
It was for Formula One. Turns out it happened a few months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, we got fucked out of our tickets. It was at Formula One Las Vegas Racing.com or .net.
Yeah.
Dot .ai or something. Yeah.
Did they still have everything up from it?
No. In fact, when I went back I also went in December for the U2 show, and it was all gone. Like I didn't see like remnants
Really?
of it. Yeah, they took that shit down real quick.
Because it took them a long time to set it up.
Long time. I mean, it's mostly like infrastructure that they were putting in, so I imagine some of that stayed, but all of the temporary things that
And all
they
the
did,
walls and stuff, so people can't watch it.
they removed all of that.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, I didn't go down to the Strip though this time. I just stayed right on Fremont, which was kind of nice. Like I liked that a lot, and
You're into the gross side of Vegas.
I'm
now.
into the edgy, more all the younger people. I was definitely like one of the youngest folk. Janie and I were like, the demographic down there is definitely like 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and on. It's like people who like to go to Vegas back in the day. You'll find a lot of the nostalgia still exists down there.
Right.
Tables are a lot cheaper, so you can get $5 tables easily down there. Everything else on the Strip's like 15 or above,
Right.
But we went for the steakhouse. The steakhouse was really nice. The Golden Steer, one of the oldest steakhouses in Las Vegas.
Where is it at?
It is right near like the Strat Circus area, like that part of town. It's got a lot of history. Like Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack used to frequent that. A lot of the mafia of Vegas would go there to eat. They have a lot of like private rooms in like back hallways in the space to where like I can imagine provide a lot of like privacy for people who wanted that. And I'm sure the owners like catered to that crowd very well. But
if it's still the same owners.
I don't know. I don't think so,
Not the same family or anything like that.
I don't know. I haven't looked into that. But you walk in, there's like a bar, there's like a little area with a couple of tables that like if you do a walk-in without a reservation, you get on the wait list for that area so you can eat at the bar or the little high tops that they have in there. But the real experience is in the dining room, which you do have to have reservations for. And if you're planning on going, I highly recommend you getting them ahead of time because they do fill up really quickly. In fact, I got this reservation months ago, and I went just to go to this place. And so you walk in, they call your name, you go in, you get seated down in these nice red tuft leather booths, like old, like steakhouse style. Everything in it feels very nostalgic. The lighting, the artwork on the walls, the service is very old school. It's very like high level hospitality. A lot of the food is served table side, which is like not very common nowadays. Like you ordered a Caesar salad, they brought out a Caesar salad cart and made the Caesar, table side. A lot of the desserts are prepared table side. It's a little bit of like a performance to it almost. And then of course what they're known for is like their steaks and their lobster tails. The lobster tails are the biggest I've ever seen. It's an Australian lobster tail, so they're like this big quite
Wow.
literally.
Really?
Yeah.
The actual meat.
The actual meat. Yeah.
Wow.
It was the biggest lobster tail I've ever seen. And
Did you get to try it? Did you guys?
Yeah,
get it?
we got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do like you could do like a dinner for two, and so it came with like a lobster tail and like a 20-ounce New York cut of meat, which is what they're known for. It's like this really thick New York cut. They also have like T-bones and prime ribs. All their steaks, I believe, are prime rated USDA, and those were really good too. But what I loved was the lobster. And then the Caesar salad was the best Caesar salad I've ever had. And just like they make the Caesar dressing right in front of you. So it's like not pre-made. They mix everything in front of you and stuff. It was absolutely, it really is pricey, as it should be, because it's got the longevity, the history, the service was really good. So you're paying for that type of thing. But be prepared to pay a couple bills for this meal, because it definitely was.
Talking Lincolns.
We're talking a couple Lincolns,
Okay.
a couple George Washingtons,
Nice.
And the cocktails are good. I had a spicy mango margarita. I'm a sucker. You know how I am. I'm a sucker for those spicy margs. I'm a little bitch.
Yeah.
But I was so full. I wanted to do like the tableside. Was it Barry's
Churros?
Jubilee or whatever it was, where
Okay.
they'd light it on fire in front of you.
Yeah.
But I tapped out. Like that salad just murdered me. It was a lot of food. But yeah, if you're looking for that old school Vegas steakhouse feel, with really good food, get some reservations there. It's pretty good.
You might get a hookup with the mafia or something.
You might get a hookup. You know what? I also like. We stayed at the Golden Nugget. The rooms are okay. It was for one night. I didn't really care.
You went to the pool?
The pool was closed. They do have a really cool Shark Tank poolside thing, but
I think they have a slide that goes through it.
yeah, they do. It's like a little tube that goes right through the aquarium. I'm sure it's awesome as shit to see sharks on each side of you as you go through this little tube. But one of my favorite things to do down there is people watch. It's amazing for variety and diversity of people. And if you go to, I think it's Binion's is the casino hotel, and they have this rotating whiskey bar that kind of overhangs the entire Fremont Experience Street. And you could just sit there and watch people for hours be entertained. I mean, I saw just so many different walks of life and the things that they were doing. There's live performance, so they're dancing. Some people are yelling. Some people are, crying. Some people are running away from some. It is like the weirdest like shit. Like you'll see so many different
Some gangsters
walks of
coming
life
up
down
in there.
Yeah,
Someone gets shot.
like if you, I had this theory. If like you have like social, not social anxiety, but like a low social IQ. Just sit on Fremont right there and just watch people for like an entire day, and you'll figure out human life.
You feel better about yourself. You're like, I'm not that weird.
Yeah, like you'll pick up on social cues. You'll pick up on just like how people interact with each other and like the different like cultures and things like that. And like you'll learn a lot by just observing people. And I feel like that's sometimes missed nowadays because, I don't know, there's a lot of like people that are, remove themselves from society. They don't like going out anymore. Maybe like they're like homebodies. Like just sit and like watch people. Like not on YouTube, not in a TV show or a movie. Like actually be there in the moment and watch people. There's I think a lost art of it. Of just being present and observing people around you. Yeah. Without them noticing that you're even there. Maybe they do. They look up at you, but like it's just being a fly on the wall has a sort of value, I think.
It is pretty cool. I do that sometimes. Did you go to Mujeres Bonitas?
Mujeres Bonitas? What is that?
I don't know, whatever that place was called.
Is that a strip club?
Yeah.
No, but I did. Janie and I watched Showgirls for the first time.
Oh, okay.
A couple nights before we
At
went.
the Flamingo?
The Showgirls, the movie, it's like regarded as one of the worst movies of all time. And if anybody has seen this movie and like regards it as anything as better than a piece of garbage, I want to talk to you because I need to know why. It's a terrible movie. The dialogue is cringy. The performance is overperformed. It's just it was like a box office bomb. It was like, first off, one of the first NC-17 rated movies for wide release. It was like a weird time in the mid 90s. And because there's a lot of like nudity and sex in it. But and as you can imagine, it bombed in the box office, but then made like twice as much money in home release. Because a lot of people were buying it, because of the sex scenes and stuff. I assume that's why they bought it. Because nobody in their right mind was like hearing all these negative reviews and then was like, let's buy it. Like spend hard-earned money on it.
Like, it's not porn, okay?
Yeah, it's not. It's not. But the main protagonist in the story, she's a dancer, so she starts out, she like stereotypically hitchhikes her way to Vegas, becomes like a stripper at this place called the Cheetahs, which still exist apparently in Vegas. And the show she gets on, like gets hired onto and tries out for it and successfully gets on, is a show in the Stardust, which is was an actual casino. I believe it's now where the Fountain Blue sits. I think that's the old site of the Stardust. But it's surprising to me because a lot of the management in the movie that were running the show, like the talent director and the producer, like they're all scumbags basically, like treating these girls like shit, which was part of like the message of the movie. Like, oh, there's a lot of abuse and like weird shit that goes on in like the industry in Vegas like that. But it was weird that the Stardust in that point of time like signed off on this movie. Like, yeah, you can put our name on it. And like,
did they film it there too?
Yeah, they had to. Yeah, definitely. And so it's so bizarre to me, and the way it bombed and the critical reception it got had to in some way hurt the reputation of that hotel. Yeah. It's certainly like when the main actress, who like apparently the director told her to he gave her the direction. There's some weird scenes in that where she is just going way over the top. And you're like, what? Who thought this was who was filming this and was like, perfect, that's a wrap. Don't need any more takes. Like, it's really weird. Apparently the director like told her that's how that she should perform it. Anyway, her manager dropped her after that movie. Oh. Yeah, it was like, that was so bad that like nobody wanted to touch her after that. Like, and it's if you haven't seen it, folks, it's worth a watch. You can watch it on, I think it's
Is it worth a watch?
Tubi.
You just trashed it.
No,
like, it's the worst movie.
It's one
I've
of those.
ever seen.
It's one of those movies where you're like, now I'm watching it because it's satire how bad it is. It's like The Room or Troll 2. It's so bad, it's good. It's not good. It's so bad, it's entertaining to watch.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you watched that while you were there?
No, I watched it before, not intentionally. It just like I had Tubi, which is like a free, with ads TV show. I'd made a whole list of movies I wanted to watch, put on the watch list, and then I'm going through those each and watching them, which is great. I like that platform because it has a lot of like older movies on it, movies that you like forgot existed
or that are hard to find.
Yeah. And when you watch them, you have some, like you watch like Peacock or Hulu, and then you have the plan with the ads, and they give you like ads every 20 minutes. Tubi will give you an ad like every half hour to an hour. Like I barely remember watching any ads. Yeah. It's kind of nice. It was like, how are you? I guess it's because these are the movies that nobody wants on their platform, right. So they get them at a discount. Yeah. It's kind of like I don't know. It's like Overstock.com type for like streaming. Yeah.
There's I feel like there's quite a few of those services that are the ads based ones.
Pluto TV is another one that's really popular.
Doesn't Roku have their own?
Roku has their own service. Yep.
There was another
Freebie
one
or Freevee is like the one that's tied into Prime. Which is really confusing to me. You go on the Prime app on like Apple TV or Fire Stick or whatever, Google Cast, and then there's like Prime movies, there's like Prime originals, and then there's like Freevee, which is apparently Prime with ads.
Is that new? Because I know
within the last 6 months I've noticed it. A lot of their content, almost, and in my opinion, half the content on Prime that you can watch without paying like the rent or buy is like through Freevee now.
Okay, because I did read like a month ago probably that Prime was going to be adding ads to all of their content, and you could pay more money to get rid of the ads.
Which is just another tier in their subscription. Well, yeah. I guess if you have Prime, you get that, right? So there's Prime Video, which you can just pay for Prime Video. Mm-hmm. But if you have Amazon Prime, you get the Prime Video service. Yeah.
But now so this is what's fucked up, because like what Netflix did, they were like, hey, we're raising the price of Netflix. And then you're like, okay, well, I don't really have a choice because I want to watch some of their original stuff and you can't watch it anywhere else. So you pay for it. And then they're like, now that we raised the price, we're going to also introduce the ad tier. So you can pay a lot less than you're paying. It's like half the price or something.
Right.
But most people are like, oh, I don't want ads. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Prime was like, you're just going to get ads and you can pay more if you don't want them. Which is pretty shitty.
It is kind of shitty.
They took your service, made it worse, and then they were like, but you can pay more if you don't want the ads. It should have been like they added the ad option where you could pay less.
Yeah.
I know from their point of view, money-wise, it makes more sense to not do that, but...
Yeah. Especially in an industry where they're still trying to figure out how to make money.
Yeah.
Netflix knows how to make money.
Well, I feel like none of them did it the way Prime's doing it. So like HBO, I think, has ads now too.
Yeah, they have that tiered.
It wasn't like they were just like, hey, guess what? You have ads now, pay us more money.
Yeah, right.
They were like, here it's like half the price or something or whatever, cheaper.
Same with Hulu is like the exact same way.
Yeah, they did that. Hulu even had ads to begin with, I think.
They did, yeah.
And then they came out with a no ads plan. And then Disney, I don't know if Disney has ads.
I don't think Disney Plus has ads. I could be wrong, but they do like a weird bundle thing with Hulu
and ESPN Plus, which is like great if you like to watch random baseball and hockey games, but nothing else.
Don't knock the guys that love
UFC
that shit
or something. I don't know. They have some fights on. They occasionally have some. I don't even know if it's UFC, but they. Streaming wars.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know. That whole thing is complicated, but
this streaming stuff is getting really annoying because, like, what was it? South Park. They were like, you can watch South Park on whatever subscriptions, but if you want to watch like these specific episodes, you have to get Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
So you get like 1 month of Paramount Plus so that you can watch those couple episodes. And you don't care about anything else on Paramount Plus. It's like
there's Yellowstone. Yellowstone. I actually haven't seen that. I don't know if
it's
like
any good, sports subscriptions where they're like, we want you to buy all of the channels so that you can watch the one sports team that you like.
Yeah. So that's the only reason why people get cable anymore is for that, like the Super Bowl, college football.
Yeah.
If you're a specific sports fan, that's what it's like. Sports is still upholding cable TV. Otherwise, you just get a different alternative version of cable TV, which is just like 3 or 4 paid streamings, platforms. You got Prime, you got Netflix, HBO, Hulu, Peacock, Paramount, Disney,
Discovery.
Well, isn't that HBO now? Yeah. Max is like all the Warner Brother catalog. Really? Yeah, with TLC, Discovery.
Is that why they changed the name?
Yeah.
It was super annoying. I had to download a new app.
Yeah.
Which like HBO's history with apps on things is really shitty. Like they had HBO, the like premium network that you could
Yeah, and that was it started out where it was just like a part of your cable package or your satellite TV package.
And then they had like you could log in online if you had it as part of something, and you could stream HBO.
HBO Go, that's what it was called.
Yeah, but they had regular HBO that you could go online and stream because you had it in your subscription.
Yeah.
Then you could get HBO Go. Or Now or whatever they call it.
That was on your mobile phone and stuff.
You could like pay for it. Mm-hmm. And then it was just like HBO.
No, HBO Now.
Now, okay.
Yeah. And that was if you didn't have a access to your HBO through your cable, you could just get it separately without tying it to a cable subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then now they have Max.
No, it was HBO Max, where they got rid of HBO Now and HBO Go. And now
it's just
Max.
Yeah. What the fuck? Just pick one.
Yeah.
And stop making me download an app. Just update the old one. It was literally like I had downloaded movies on the old HBO Max app or whatever. Yeah. And then I go to get on the plane and it's like, you can't watch these because you have to download the new app.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so dumb. They should have figured that shit out. They were like, we're going to start from scratch. This is I guess it was a branding move, right? And I'm sure there was some legal crosshairs that were happening when they did merge with Discovery, because it was like, okay, well, we're not going to like, I don't know. Maybe it was like a thing where they were still going to have to maintain the old app, and Discovery didn't want to have to pay for that. So they just did this whole a clean slate, call it Max. It's like, drop the HBO. It sounds cleaner.
Sir, we have HBO Max. Drop the HBO.
Yeah, drop the HBO.
But that's the name of our company.
No, because
everybody knows what HBO is. Nope.
Yeah.
Let's create a new one.
There was a premium value that seemed to be attached to the HBO brand. It was like a grittiness, kind of elevated television type experience. And I think that's what people identified with HBO. You know, it was raw, unfiltered, uncensored television of decent quality. And then there's like the stand up and documentary aspect to it. So I think they wanted to just get rid of that notion and just go with Max. And that was like, oh, now we have television from like Discovery on there now. We don't want to associate the two. They still have HBO programming. Yeah. Which is like HBO original series, you know, like Game of Thrones. That still will have the HBO logo appear in the front, right? But Max is like completely separate from that. That's just the platform it's hosted on.
Yeah, okay. This makes sense now. Yeah, because I think so like Showtime has you can get that and stuff, but I feel like that's...
Who has Showtime?
Away, right?
If y'all have Showtime, let me know. I want to know which one of you fucks has Showtime.
Everyone was like, we have to watch the new Dexter.
I got it because I signed up for 3 years of Xfinity mobile triple play plan, and now I just get that shit for free. Nobody's going out of their way and buying Showtime. I'm sorry. You have Showtime because you bought some other shit, and it came with it, and now you just got it.
I need you to do some improv.
Yeah, you just got the fucking Showtime. You know what was good? Showtime boxing. If you were a boxing fan, you liked HBO and you liked Showtime. Now they don't do that. I'm pretty sure Showtime has gone right down the toilet. The last good thing that ever happened to Showtime was probably Dexter, and they rebooted that, and I heard it was pretty good. I don't know. I haven't watched it, but apparently it was pretty good because, you know, the way they ended the original run was kind of shitty. A lot of controversy. What's up with those Showtime HBO shows just doing the weird endings? I'm talking to you, Sopranos, and then you had the balls to do a prequel and you did it half-ass. That's bullocks. Well, the one thing they did that was really cool with the reboot of Sopranos was they did James Gandolfini's actual son played the young Tony Soprano, and I thought that was pretty cool. It's kind of like an homage to R.I.P. James Gandolfini, one of the greats to ever play a character in a show. But having your son come in and play the character, the prequel to the character that your dad played, that's pretty cool. You know, another thing that's recently in the zeitgeist that's happening, that's kind of similar, is Sublime. The lead singer, he's dead, but his son is now old enough and sounds almost identical to the original singer, and now he is on as the lead singer. They like brought him in permanently, and they're going to be touring with the lead singer's son. And it sounds really good. I don't know if you guys have recently seen videos of this, but he's like spot on. He sounds exactly like the original singer.
Did he get permission from his dad?
They had to do a seance, They had to like feel out the tarot cards, whether or not it would be cool with him. Because that's the last thing you want is taken on, and then all of a sudden you're cursed.
Yeah, you're cursed.
Yeah, all this bad shit starts happening.
You're not allowed to do that.
You can't do that.
You start overdosing and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know the history to what I'm guessing the guy died from drugs or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe.
He was a rock star. It's common. It happens. We're gonna look that shit up right now because I don't want to disrespect all you Sublime fans out there. But yeah, I think it was a drug related incident. They just go too soon, man. Hopefully he wasn't 27 because that's even weirder. If he was 27,
he was 16.
He was 16? Oh, holy shit, dude. You got me on that one.
Ooh, wow. So he was 28.
He was 28?
Yeah.
Oh, he just skipped the 27 club.
Yeah.
It's a thing. Do you know about this?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Yeah, the 27 club. The infamous club you do not want to be a part of, but it is interesting and macabre nonetheless.
That's so crazy. Like, I feel like, I don't know. You should have lasted longer than that. You know what I mean?
Once you get past 20, if you're a famous rock star and you hit 28, you're good. Apparently not this guy. He had a little too much fun. He was like, "I'm good on the 27 club."
Yeah.
And then he partied
So he
a little too
started
hard.
doubling up.
Yeah, he started
It's
doubling
like,
up.
I'm invincible, baby.
Yeah,
Because he was
I
already
made it.
doing it. He was already going hard.
Yeah, he was already
You know what I
risking
mean?
it for the biscuit
Yeah.
in 27.
He had like a couple heart attacks, and he was like, "They can't keep me
Yeah.
down."
Yeah, they can't. That just keep coming. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he left.
He
That's
left,
tragic
unfortunately,
ending.
but he did leave behind a son who apparently I don't watch the news, but he's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think I'm excited to see what happens with that. I don't know. I mean, I'm not that big of a Sublime fan to like go buy tickets and go to a show, but I appreciate the hits. Those are pretty good. And I'm excited. And if you are a Sublime fan, congratulations. You got renewed life into the band. Because they were Sublime with Rome for like the longest time. And they would tour Sublime with Rome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So are mushrooms going to become a popular thing again?
Was that their thing?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I feel like
Psychedelic. They were always like trippy psychedelic album covers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
I feel like that's that kind of music too, right? Like
reggae,
it's
rock.
Like, it's like good music, but it's probably more enjoyable
under the influence of psychoactive drugs.
Yeah, like if you're doing heroin.
Yeah. How do you know this, Miles?
Oh, because it says that he overdosed
on heroin.
From heroin.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
So apparently, it's pretty good.
He got too much into his own sauce.
Oh yeah, that heroin is pretty popular with rock stars, right?
It is. It is the rock star's drug of choice.
Is it like still a thing?
Oh yeah,
really?
still the thing.
Yeah?
Even so, like these modern rock bands, because rock's kind of dying.
Yeah.
Well, it has been for a while, but like the 1975. For instance, which is like, I don't know, you could call them a rock band, but and their first album was more heavy on the rock side, but the lead singer had a heroin problem.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Recovering. I don't know if he still does. I know he's been clean for a little bit, but yeah. And let's see, Mac Miller.
Was that heroin?
I don't think, was it heroin? We're gonna look this up. Because I don't want to piss anybody off. Those Mac Miller fans go hard.
It was probably from like NyQuil, right?
He got that purple. He went too hard into the purple. The purple drank.
Oh, okay. So it was an overdose of cocaine, fentanyl, and alcohol.
Yeah, that's fentanyl's heroin adjacent, right? That's the stuff that you get the Great Value off-brand of like actual heroin, right?
Is it the same effect? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's an
more
opioid.
Like, yeah. So it's like morphine, which I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it says that fentanyl is 50 times more potent than heroin, and 100 times more potent than morphine.
That's right. So you need less of it to get the same effect that heroin will give you.
Isn't that kind of boring though?
What?
Right? Like to take less of it. Isn't taking it part of the fun part?
That's why people like beer.
It's like people who do cocaine.
Yeah.
It's like if they were like, oh, you just snort like a little tiny bit of it.
Yeah.
That sounds really boring. Who would do cocaine?
Yeah. You want to be able to do lots of
rip a line.
That's why I like beer, because I can drink more of it. I could do shots all day if I wanted. No, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll do beer.
What if they were like, take this micro shot and you'll be wasted?
Man, yeah, that sounds boring.
Sounds super boring.
Especially if you're like a casual user,
Mm-hmm.
You're not like, I'm not looking just to get my fix.
Yeah.
I want to be able to enjoy it, have fun, talk to people.
With morphine, you're like, you're probably not going to overdose on it because you're like, you can take a decent amount. Fentanyl, you're like, ooh.
I don't think anybody wants to do fentanyl. For the record, I don't even think everybody's like, hey, give me some of that. Well, if you're used to it, maybe. But I think there's a lot other drugs that if you're a drug user, you probably want something a little safer.
I've seen some YouTube videos of people on the streets who definitely want to do it.
Oh, they definitely want to do it. They definitely want to do it.
Yeah.
But do they want to do it?
They don't want to do it.
Exactly.
They're like, I would rather be doing heroin.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it's definitely
never
a lot safer. Not saying it's safe to do heroin, but statistically, according to what you just said, 55 times stronger or something like that.
50 times stronger.
50 times. Then you're wanting to do heroin because it's probably going to give you a similar effect and maybe a little safer.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't do either, but if I was going to do one, I would do heroin.
If you were into drugs and somebody was like, dude, I got it. It's laced with fentanyl.
Yeah.
You're not going, oh, hell yeah. You're probably like, well, all right, let's not do that.
You start backing out.
Yeah, you're like, this seemed like a good idea at first.
Guys, I already did fentanyl. So, I'm good right now.
Yeah. I had, a couple handfuls of fentanyl when I left this morning, so I'm going to pass on that. But maybe next time.
Yeah. Fentanyl comes from China?
Does it?
I don't know. Isn't that what everyone says?
Well, it comes through the borders, obviously, and the first stage is they come through the Mexican border, and then they take your jobs, and then they rape your families. According to somebody I know, I've heard this. I didn't say that.
So apparently, you can buy a lollipop, like fentanyl lollipops, which is what they used to use in Afghanistan.
Holy shit!
For combat medics.
Oh, okay. It's like a slow release type of thing,
I guess.
Yeah, right. Because that's why you would make a fentanyl lollipop.
Sounds pretty good. That's not boring.
That sounds that sounds kind of exciting.
I mean, come on, it's a lollipop.
Listen, if you make it safe, then Purdue Pharmaceutical is gonna go absolutely bonkers over this shit.
So let's pull up this photo real quick.
Okay.
So what we're showing here is a pencil, like a number 2 pencil, and on the very tip where the graphite is, there's a tiny bit of this white powder. This is a lethal dose of fentanyl.
Yeah, that's absolutely nuts. There's the one with the penny next to it too for scale.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah, this is 2 milligrams.
Jesus Christ. You could accidentally snort that easily.
Oh, totally. I mean, even if someone put that, let's say you're doing cocaine, somebody puts this little tiny bit in the cocaine, dead.
I think you could die just being next to it. That's how strong it is.
You get it in your eye.
Yeah. You waft some of the particles in, instantly dead. This is like COVID all over again.
So if somebody had a pile, so it's every time I hear or see fentanyl in a form, it's always like this white powdery stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
It comes in lollipops apparently. I don't know if you can get that at CVS, but So let's imagine someone's got a pile of fentanyl next to you, and they slam their hand on the desk, their fist on the desk, like really angry. Yeah, and all the particles float in the air. What do you do?
I think you had to have one of those, not the EpiPen, but it's the Narcan. You had to get one of those. In fact, a lot of if you accidentally touch fentanyl, you like come into contact with it, you can go into like not septic shock. It's like a you'll need it, or else you'll like I've seen videos of cops accidentally touching it.
Yeah.
And then they'll like fall down. And like their partner's like, yo, what's going on? And then they instantly think, oh shit, it could be fentanyl. So they grab the Narcan and they fucking save his life. Like I've seen videos of that. And that's absolutely terrifying. Especially if this stuff is on the street. Because like, you hear, I don't know if this is actually true, but you hear like kids accidentally getting into it or something like that. That's like, it's a real risk because of how small it is and how little that you need for, a lethal dose. It's just kind of scary. I don't know.
So I'm guessing because of how little you need, it's much, I guess it's the margin on it. The drug dealers are making a lot more money on it.
I don't know.
Because they have to sell less of it.
I feel like we need to like dive into an HBO documentary.
Dude,
speaking of HBO, there's got to be some great, sad but really well produced media telling the story about like how this came to be, why is it so bad, what propped this up in the beginning. It's probably tied to some pharmaceutical company. If I was a betting man, I'd be follow the money type of thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know much about it, to be honest. I just know the
probably related to Operation Warp Speed.
Probably Midnight Climax. That's not an operation.
Speaking of documentaries, have you seen American Nightmare yet?
No. Isn't that the new one on Netflix?
Yep.
I did see that because I was downloading some shows to watch on the plane, my 7-cent plane ride to Las Vegas. I saw that one, but I opted out of that and downloaded Love on the Spectrum season 2.
Oh, bad choice.
No, great choice. No. Love that show. Pretty entertaining.
Yeah, but this was the documentary was good.
Okay, what is it about? Good. Give us the skinny.
I'll read you the description real quick to make sure that I do not give any spoilers away.
Oh, gotcha.
But so I would say the documentary itself is pretty decent. It's okay.
Wait, hold up. Is it a dramatization or is it an actual documentary?
It's actual documentary with the actual people.
Okay, good. I like those way better than the dramatized ones. Where they hire actors,
Definitely.
they give a little bit of like liberty to the story to make it interesting.
Yeah, this is straight from people connected to the whole thing. They use archival footage from interviews with police and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, give me the synopsis.
All right. Here's the one teaser. Sentence. After a harrowing home invasion and kidnapping in 2015, a couple is accused of staging the ordeal when the woman reappears in this true crime docuseries.
Ooh, that does sound pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I could get into that.
Yeah.
Could get into that. I'm usually into like cult documentaries because that's what fascinates me the most, but I do love me a good true crime.
I'd say this story is very interesting.
Okay.
Like,
and you've watched this.
I watched it.
Okay. And is it
it's
like
3 episodes.
It's
really short.
All right.
I think they're like 30 minutes long. Let's see. 45 minutes long. I watched it all last night.
Whoa.
All 3 episodes.
Okay, so like 90 minutes total. It's like a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that's why I watched the whole thing. So you can watch it in one evening easily or on a plane ride or whatever.
And thanks Netflix for not making this a 6-part series where you put in like an immense amount of fluff just to get the content out there.
Yeah. This was perfect. In fact, now I take back what I was saying. It's not just an okay documentary. I think they did a pretty good job because of that reason.
Yeah.
Because that really pisses me off. I'm like, I don't need to get the interview from like the neighbor 3 doors down's sister.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So
keep me close to the case.
Yeah, just give me the gritty details. I'd like to see actually a follow-up episode at some point.
Oh,
Yeah.
what do they call it? The tell-all.
Yeah. Tell all.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll have to watch that. I have been looking for a good documentary. There's too many out there, so I just go off of recommendations now.
Yeah, that's the thing. There are so many. There's lots that that look good that I haven't been recommended.
Yeah.
But I'm like, do I waste my time watching this and wish that I never did?
I bet you there's a dozen just on that fentanyl crisis that we were talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's about hearing other people have watched it and then their recommendation. Oh, this is worth your time, or oh no, they made 12 episodes and 6 of those episodes are just absolute garbage. You needed to cut the fat.
Yeah, for sure. There's actually a series on Netflix called Dope.
There it is. Well, we'll have to watch it and then give a follow-up onto what came out as a sloppy fentanyl coverage on the show.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We're going to watch one on Hulu, one on HBO, and one on Netflix.
Yep.
They're all going to be produced very similar, like the Firefest documentaries.
Yes, the 7 Firefest documentaries and the 7 more that are coming out after the sequel drops.
Oh, yeah. When is that?
I don't know.
Oh, I thought that we were hosting.
Oh, yeah. We should do like a host part, like a watch party if they stream it live. What is it, Miles?
It's the end of 2024.
Oh, wow. They got some time. They're trying to figure this out.
Oh, it's December 6th.
Did they get Rihanna? Who's headlining?
It's in the Caribbean.
Of course, it has to
That's
be.
it. Just the Caribbean.
They haven't announced the lineup yet. Hey, buy our tickets. We don't know who's going to be suckered into coming and playing for us. It could be Tiger King. He may get out by then.
It just says Fire does dope shit, and we're hoping to do it again. They didn't do it again.
Do it again. This is a big piece of satire. It has to be. We're gonna do it up. We're gonna do it twice as big as it was. Well, I hope fucking so, dude. We've all seen the footage. Not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a vegetarian, so I'm all for 2 slices of bread with a piece of cheese in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm on a diet, so this is perfect for me.
But like, can we at least make it a grilled cheese?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Add some protein in there.
Yeah, there's different tickets. You can get the Miami, Florida Keys weekend.
Ooh.
What's really weird about it is it says the Caribbean, and then it's like, we're hoping to do it in the Florida Keys.
Yeah, they're like, we don't know exactly the details of this, but give us your money so we can fund the rest of this.
Should we buy?
Should we
buy?
How much is it? How much is it?
Well, which one?
Well, give me the low tier. Give me like, I don't get my own tent, but I get like,
So the highest access,
a yoga mat.
So the cheapest ticket it looks like is for the final pre-sale. That means they're selling out quick.
Yeah.
$2,500 per person.
$2,500.
For the artist pass, which I guess
gives you like some behind the scenes side stage.
Either that or you have to be an artist. That may be it.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So you have to be an artist. Like, you have to be artistic.
Yes. How much is this?
$50,000.
$50,000?
Yeah. And if you want the highest access, it is. You just throw a number out there.
$150,000.
$1,022,000.
What?
$57.06.
No fucking way.
I swear to God.
Really?
Yeah.
They were like, that makes sense. That will cover everything we need.
Oh, and you have to get approval too. Like, you can't just buy this.
Oh, gotcha. They got to do a background check. Yeah. You got to do the credit check. You need 5 references. You have to know, I don't know. You have to know like Donald Trump Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe Kid Rock.
What is this? This is sponsored by the Truth Social.
Is it really? No. That'd be so funny. Listen, if y'all are buying this stuff, I want to know why. Why did you choose to just throw your money away?
Why?
I want to know.
Well, because
leave
they
us
have
a comment.
They have an app.
They have an app.
They have
Oh,
an
well, that okay. I get it now. Can we take my money? If they have an app, take my money.
They have a wait list.
Well, of course they do. Of course they do, Miles. Because who doesn't want to be a part of the greatest sequel follow-up to the greatest dumpster fire festival? Oh, shit. Did I just come up with a cool-ass nickname for this shit?
Yeah, what was it?
The Dumpster Fire Fest?
Oh. What about just like dumpster?
Got 'em. Just Dumpster Fest?
No, drop the fest.
Yeah.
Dumpster.
We're doing a whole festival inside of this dumpster. It's going to be great.
It's the world's largest dumpster.
Yeah.
We got this.
Or everybody gets their own dumpster.
You can dumpster dive. That's like one of the activities.
Yeah.
We dive into the ocean. Why would you do that when you can dive into the dumpster?
We got 50 dumpsters. We put a gold bar in one of them. Got to go through. First person to find it gets it, but you got to dig through trash.
Yeah, fentanyl needles in one.
Yeah, it's like the Saw movie with the pit of needles. We don't. Yeah, you got to sign a waiver. It'll be fine.
None of it will kill you.
Yeah.
You just might get like HIV.
Yep.
Or I guess
Hepatitis B, C, A, D, E, F, G.
Q.
Yep.
One might make you gay.
Yeah. One might make you gay.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. It's
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
No.
We support gay people.
Yeah, one might make you straight too. So if you're looking to change sexual orientation,
Yeah.
Firefest might be the thing for you.
Like if your parents keep sending you to Bible camp
yeah.
and you're like,
Shit.
I'm not gay,
Yeah.
Then yeah,
You might want to go to Firefest.
We got an answer for you.
We got an
It'll be
answer
$1 million though.
Yeah, it might cost you like, I don't know, your college savings fund that your grandpa set up for you, but
Yeah.
it's all worth it. It's all worth it. Just
Yeah.
give it to Billy.
Thank
I
you,
think is his name.
Grandpa.
Thanks, Billy, for doing the sequel. We really appreciate you.
Billy
I think that's his name.
McFarlane.
Yeah, something like that.
What a patriot.
What a patriot. Just doing it for his country.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's it.
Billy for president.
Billy for president. Thanks for listening. Everybody, thanks for watching on YouTube. You guys are just the best fans that we have. Thanks for watching us. Check out the Michelada. We drank it all. It's really good. It was spicy. It was good. It cured my hangover. I'm a renewed man. You couldn't notice at any point in the whole episode that I was hungover because I was sipping on this thing. Great recovery drink. Don't call it recovery drink because that means a whole different thing when it comes to alcohol.
We had 3 before this, by the way.
Catch us next time on episode 63 coming up. Until then, adios.
Peace.